have you seen this practice work?
What practice are we talking about? The inventory or
Yeah.
the actual discovering the miracle amongst us, or our resources, or what?
I think the practice of inventory.
Yeah.
But you can answer any question you want.
Well, I think every time we did a town meeting was putting this in practice, because what we aimed at in our town meetings was to have people discover what their resources were and be able to take those resources and to create the vision and the future that they wanted for themselves, you know. And they actually did that in many of the town meetings that Jill and I participated in. In fact, I remember one town meeting in Texas that I had to do by myself, where it was the principal of a preschool that was the leader there, and she got all the people together and we held a town meeting, and their big complaint was the county wouldn't provide resources to have their swimming pool redone or resurfaced so that they could use it. And they looked towards the power being outside themselves. When they focused to see the power within themselves, they were able to create a expression of who they were. What came out of shorten the story, what came out of the meeting was they had a lot of theatrical talent, and so they decided to do the whiz in their community, and they actually went on to do the whiz and to raise the funds to have their swimming pool resurfaced and be able to open it again so that they could use it. And it was so successful that it was published in the local newspaper, and how well and what a wonderful theatrical performance it was. And we got feedback to our Houston house that all that happened, and some colleagues connected us with that and let us know about that. I'm complete.
Our oldest granddaughter got a degree in mathematical biology, which means she's good at going around and counting things and saying how many frogs, starfish, invasive plants there are. And it's amazing the power that has to just say, look, there's this and this and this. And I go back to the food bank. Once you can say, we already have 7 crates of celery, it erases a whole lot of ambiguity about the rest of the celery that's in the barrels.
Yeah.
I'm complete.
I confess, I'm having a lot of trouble with this one. I'm in a relatively new church organization. I'm with a team that is doing strategic planning, and I keep coming up against my histories with doing planning with everybody, as opposed to having a small team doing the planning and trying to reflect what everybody else in the congregation wants. And I'm having a lot of trouble with this question of inventory, because it feels to me like we have a very narrow focused vision. I'm trying to figure out how do we see bigger? How do we not be tied to the past? How do we jump ahead, and you can't jump ahead on your own, and the team you're with has to have enough, to see how to include it anyway. So I confess personally, right now, I'm really struggling with this practice of inventory in this particular location. But I also want to testify to how exciting it was to watch the presentation that Mary D'Souza did on forest renovation. And they started with a small thing, and then they went bigger, and then they went bigger. And you could just see by counting trees and counting geography, and I don't have all the structure in my head, but it just blew me away. And it's about inventory. It's really the practice of inventory, of getting this reforestation from one place right here, some other place in India, and other officials coming in to look at it. And true miracle. So I see a miracle elsewhere, and I'm looking for a miracle in my own inventory plot, and I'm complete.
In terms of last night, I was writing down that we have 7 people on our teaching staff to teach about 25, 30 young girls or women. And for the first time this year, we have staff have found people to donate rice. We give a small bowl of rice and dal when students come in. And then we have a tribal community, and this is the time of Diwali. So one of our staff members has been able to get a friend to donate rice for most of the year, and find another friend to contribute towards giving a package of food to the tribal community. And this has surprised me that this initiative came from one of our staff that I did not expect it to come from. I am complete.
You want to say something?
This just reminds me that sometimes we look for the miracles in the wrong places, or we think that the miracle is going to happen in one place and overlook, or can overlook, where it's really happening. I don't have an exact example of that, but it's just a thought that occurs to me.
We have I'm still working with inventory. We have a grandson that is adopted and came out of some severe abuse and alcohol syndrome, and he's teenager now, and his capacity to sustain him in the home has been surpassed, and so he's in a residential location that does trauma, abuse, and other kinds of things. But my husband and I found ourselves needing to do inventory, specific inventory, to figure out how to cover the extensive cost that this facility takes. And I'm trying to think of the possibility now. Is we looked in one place for, where we might cover the costs, and it was the need was so evident. It was like there wasn't a choice to not meet this need. It wasn't going to come out of our daughter's household. And so this inventory, this go and see, I think really took us to places that we didn't expect in terms of how to release funds, how to find funds, how to borrow how to borrow from one Peter to pay another Paul. I think need is sometimes the catalyst for serious inventory. And my illustration is in, a financial need arena, but I think when I think about the context in which Jesus said, go and see, it's the need that pushes the inventory. And then the possibilities for using asset-based inventory, or the whole cultural list that was given there. You can do inventory in a whole lot of different ways. And how you do the inventory makes a difference, but it's a need that pushes the innovativeness of your inventory. And when I think about our global climate and what is needed, we haven't really done a serious inventory of, one, how to do it, and two, what are we going to use, and what are the values that we're going to undertake to do immigration, refugee care, and just other things. The need we have not yet nationally or internationally faced, and so we haven't done the inventory that we need to do. Anyway, need. I think my insight there, based on personal experience in a little tiny arena, is when the need is evident, the inventory takes place. So
it occurred to me as you were talking also, Ruth, Jesus kind of had a unique role because he got to say, go and see. And it's not automatic for to have somebody in the situation who can play that role and say, go and see. I was thinking about your story about your strategic planning group and so forth and so on. And when you're caught in the middle of that, well, there you are, you're caught in the middle. You're caught in the middle of that, which is exactly, I think, where the disciples were. So then I found myself thinking, how do you make sure there's somebody who can say, go and see?
I think that's where that second teaching role that you talked about, Jim, takes place. Like, we have co-leaders in this group, and I keep looking for ways to get a question to them that they could then act on. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It's more fun to do all this when you got a team of people you're working with that have your back.
Jesus' team was blocked.
Yeah.
In the story.
Yeah, you're right. I think I'm all out of stories.
Where this chapter is pushing me is to raise the question of what I do in the community I live in. That is, it's pushing me to raise that question. I have not done very much here. I live as an individual family and have nothing to do with my neighbors, or very little.
Yes, me too. Me too. But every time I get pushed even a little bit to say something to one of my neighbors, or we have flood irrigation that comes down the ditch and it got all messed up. People I'm at the end. So I had to go figure out what was going on. And first thing I had to do was swallow being irritated. And once I did that, oh my God, put these people up the road, he's building a house so his children can live there forever, and he doesn't want to, and then this is up there and that's up there, and it's just unbelievable what's possible, what's available.
Yeah, that's
did.
all part in taking inventory of your resources. People are resources also, but we overlook that many times,
Isn't that the part of sin abounding?
Of what?
That it does. Sin.
Abounds.
Oh,
Joe,
I didn't quite.
If all those other people would just get it taken care of, then we'd be okay.
Amen.
well, I'm thinking also this is